Oh, you fucking bitch. Okay, phone distraction aside, using my own music as background music worked last time because I didn't get a copyright strike, so I'm just gonna do that again. Okay, so it's been about a week since I posted my video, and I think I need to do a follow-up already because the amount of response and feedback I've been getting on the video is actually quite surprising, and a lot of good points have been brought up that I didn't think about when making the video, and so I wanted to make a quick follow-up on that, especially because the devs have watched that video. So don't worry, Cascade, I've got you covered. The devs have said that they've watched the video. And I've also had a talk with Kryptek. It's not like any private DMs or anything. You can all go see the conversation. It was in the replies of my latest Twitter post. So if you want to go read it, you can. But I'm going to be talking about it in this video as well as some other stuff. Let's start it off with a continuation from my last video because a couple people mentioned this, so let's talk about the tutorial. Quick side note, because of the new update and everything, the tutorial doesn't show up on the queue screen anymore. It's still there, You're able to scroll to it with the arrow keys. There's no indication about this, and so it's just even more confusement for new players, because now they're going to think there's no tutorial. Just a small thing I feel like I need to get out there, just in case anyone wants to play it for some reason. The tutorial, in everybody's opinion, not just mine, is incredibly outdated, okay? Incredibly outdated. And granted, it's not the current dev's fault that the tutorial doesn't tell you everything. This tutorial has been in the game since it came out of beta. The issue is, all the tutorial does is tell you press WASD space and here's Victor's abilities. It doesn't exactly tell you about the item store, which is a massive part of gameplay. It doesn't tell you about passive cauterize or anything like that. And these are huge parts of Paladins' gameplay and identity. The fact that you've got an item store in a first-person hero shooter is incredibly unique to Paladins, and yet it's not introduced to a new player until they either jump into a game head first or go to the shooting range, and then they have to learn the item store, like, by themselves. There's no explanation on any of it. Also, not to mention, the tutorial just looks bad. Once again, this isn't like the current dev's fault. This tutorial was made years and years ago, but it hasn't aged well. I'll keep it that way. I think at some point the Ying AI has broken because I don't remember her doing this last time I played the tutorial, but the last time I played the tutorial was in November 2017, so I don't know, maybe my fucking memory's a bit foggy. Another thing that was brought up, which I had no clue was a thing, is that buying champs is bugged. Like, the process of buying a champion with either gold or crystals is bugged. Like, here, for example, you're reading a comment of someone that is a new player and had fell victim to this bug. They had accidentally spent crystals on a champ that they were trying to buy gold with. And this is a huge issue and a huge problem that needs to be fixed. This is, like, really demotivating, especially as a new player. You've barely got any gold, you've barely got any crystals, and a bug has just made you waste over 100 crystals on a champ. This can be incredibly demotivating and not want the player to keep playing the game, especially when they can feel like a bug like that can happen with every champ. And some people 100% agreed with what I said during the video, and if that's you, then great. I'm glad that, more people are starting to see these issues, but a lot of people also brought up other sides of the coin which I hadn't thought of. For example, as a new player, you might just be blissfully unaware, as said by this person. You might just choose a character you like and play them based off aesthetics. Maybe that's something, and you don't really care about the price or anything like that. And I think that's also an interesting view to see things as. What if you're just, playing the game for fun? What if you don't really care about the CC or anything like that? You're just getting on, playing a game, playing a couple, matches, and then getting off. However, I feel like in this case, if you are viewing the game from that sort of standpoint, then it begs the question, why are so many champs so much gold? Especially in this type of gaming world that we're in, where a lot of new hero shooters are coming out, a lot of more graphically impressive and more stable games than Paladins are coming out, such as Marvel Rivals, or Overwatch 2, or Gigantic, and the hero shooter market is genuinely starting to become quite competitive. And I bring this up because what's stopping a new player from seeing all of these characters, seeing how expensive all they are, and seeing how hard the grind is? What's stopping them from just going to a game like Overwatch 2 or Marvel Rivals where you get all these characters for free? You literally just start out with all of them. And yes, I know I'm repeating the whole champs are too expensive argument that you heard in the last video, but after reading how long truly the grind is, as this person said, it took them almost a year to get all of the champs. Now, I don't know what their playtime was. I don't know if they were playing every day or playing like twice a week. I'm not sure. But to see that it takes almost a year to get all the champs unlocked is kind of ridiculous. And I feel like if I was a new player and I learned that's how long it takes, I'd also probably just go to Marvel Rivals or something. Now, before I start talking about, different hero shooters, which one you'd rather play, let's turn it back a bit. I feel like I'm getting a bit too, off track and personal, which segues me perfectly into the conversation I had with Kryptek, which is something that I also want to bring up because I feel like she said a lot of things that a lot of you guys should also be able to hear. And, some people don't support X or whatever. Yeah, fucking Twitter. But I'll tell you guys so that way you don't have to go onto Twitter and indulge into that cesspool. Now, I'm going to start by showing you the original tweet and talking about that quickly. The language that I used and such wasn't necessarily the best. When I was making the tweet, I was already pretty mad at the new patch, because a lot of stuff that people complained about didn't really get changed. For example, the Makoa change to his ultimate, just stuff like that still made it through, especially the Cassie changes. And so I was already mad about the patch. And then when I learned that the tutorial had also been taken off the screen and that you had to scroll and there's nothing to indicate that, it just got me a bit too mad. And so, I voiced my opinion in quite an aggressive way, but I'm an aggressive person as much as I hate to admit it. When it comes to stuff that I'm passionate about and stuff that I want to critique, I can get quite animated and vocal about these things. Also, very quickly before people start thinking that I'm hating on Andrew and start trying to stir some non-existent drama pot or something like that, even though I called out Andrew's community, it wasn't anything to do with Andrew or his community. That was just me, voicing my opinion on the fact that the community manager, I only ever see her, engaging in Andrew's community whenever he's live streaming. That's nothing against Andrew. He can't control or say what Twitch chat Kryptek spends 90% of her time in. That's her own choice. I just think that it's kind of silly that she spends all of her time in only Andrew Chicken's chat, besides the one time she came to mine, but I feel like that was because I was the only one live streaming PTS at the time. So, anyway, before I get sidetracked again, let's actually talk about what Kryptek said. So, the first response to this original tweet is completely fine. It's just Kryptek saying, I understand that I should have brought this up into the update notes, which this already shows that, Kryptek listens to us. Okay, Kryptek is reading our tweets and our complaints and is understanding when there is valid criticism to be had and where she can learn from mistakes. This is automatically a good sign. This is good. It shows that when people are sat there fucking screaming blue murder, then, Kryptek won't necessarily listen, and I can't blame her. When you've got such a toxic community like the Paladins one, you're not really gonna want to sit there and listen to people berating you 24/7 for the smallest things. You're gonna want to read and listen to the small, quick criticisms that are actually valid and are voiced properly, even though mine could have been worded a lot better. She then goes on to say that she's watched the video and she's shared a couple of the biggest points with the team, and this is a good thing. This shows that we as players can talk to the devs and critique things, and they will listen, they will take it, and they will think about it. Now, what is said next is the fact that she hasn't really spoken about it on Twitter or anything like that because words don't mean it that much and players want change. This is true to an extent. However, this is true when the devs have already been communicative and are already talking to us, which unfortunately when it comes to Paladins, we've reached a point where players don't even want change in game. Players just want devs to talk to us and give us information. And I feel like both sides of the argument can definitely work on this, both players to devs and devs to players. We as players shouldn't be as toxic as we are. A lot of people, myself included, instantly jump the gun and go straight to cussing the devs out over every little thing, and when that's not going to help either party. The devs aren't going to want to listen to us, and we're just going to get even madder. However, this doesn't mean that the devs are doing perfect as well. As Kryptek has said herself, the devs can do better and should do better. We need to be able to hear stuff coming back to us from the devs, because ever since Ranked got disabled, we've been losing a lot of communication from the devs, and especially in that time, we really needed it. But all we got was a couple hints towards, like, hotfixes, and that doesn't help us. Like, we don't know what these hotfixes are, we don't know when they've happened, we don't know when they're coming. Apparently, when they were doing these lineup of hotfixes, one had already been put out and nobody knew until the second one was mentioned. We had no clue that a first hotfix had been put out, but apparently they were. This is what I mean when I say that both players and devs need to talk to each other better. Players need to tone down the way that they're speaking and actually speak to them in proper ways and critique proper things, and devs just need to speak back to us in general, because when we're reaching a point in Paladins where I'm seeing YouTuber after YouTuber leaving, we need to start having more communication. Carrying on with the tweets that you're seeing scroll past the screen right now, as the text read earlier, there was no mention of a ranked hotfix at all, even when June 19th hit. This tweet right here says that a hotfix has happened. However, as you can see, this was posted on June 12th. So this wasn't anything to do with Ranked. And then all we got was anniversary event beginning, which says that it's going to begin on June 19th. So, you know, that's hopefully when the Ranked comes back. But as I say, nothing was ever mentioned. All we got was teaser after teaser about the anniversary event, nothing about Ranked, nothing about server issues, nothing like that, until June 19th happens, which just talks about a Mave issue, and cards, and, you know, the patch summary or whatever, and we don't get anything about Ranked until they tweet about Omen being disabled, and guess what day that was on, because it wasn't on June 19th, it was, I don't know, I'd say a good couple days afterwards. In fact, no one knew that Ranked came back, and people were complaining that, you know, they had lost TP. There you go, July 1st. July 1st was when they next mentioned Ranked, and then all we got were teasers again. And I know I've just sat here and spent the past 2 minutes shitting on the devs' lack of communication, but I could go the other side and I can spend the next 2 minutes shitting on the player base for being too toxic when trying to give feedback to the devs. Obviously, I don't want to go into that because we all know who these people are. They go onto Twitter and they instantly voice. I'm not going to name people because of how toxic and fucking baby rage the community is. I'll just end up with people trying to get into drama with me. I hope the devs can understand. And just know I'm not playing favorites, okay? Both the community is shit at communication and so are the devs. I'm not trying to play favorites, I just don't want people coming after me and trying to make drama out of something that doesn't need drama. Kryptek said it, you know, better than I could. We can do better and communicate more. And honestly, I think that is for both the player base and the devs. I'm not going to sit here and try and act like the devs are some shining angels that can do no wrong. We all know that communication is a massive issue in Paladins right now. The player base is shit at it and the devs lack it. And we can both sit here and say, oh, we'll work on it, we'll be more respectful, or we'll work on it, we'll, you know, be more vocal and be more transparent. We can both say that, but as Kryptek said, words only mean so much. What people want is change, and unfortunately, we need to see that first. It's sort of like an apology, you know? I can say that I'm sorry, but I need to show that I mean it. And as Kryptek has said, I did do an apology to her, and I hope that this video shows that I'm trying to stick with that apology and not instantly go to massive raging and massive swearing, but instead keep my criticisms and my videos like this more sort of professional, I suppose you could word it like that, but definitely more watchable for the devs. Now, if all you cared about was the sort of part 2, I suppose, to my Death of the New Player experience, and also the conversation I had with Kryptek, then you can probably stop watching the video here, because I'm going to be more talking about what I'm doing around Paladins. And I'm going to start by saying, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing the game as often. I've been playing the game a little bit this patch, but this patch has truly been a mess, and I don't really feel like playing it. There's a lot of balance decisions that were just not the right ones, and I'm gonna keep it real. The player base is at its worst right now. Like, a lot of people are incredibly toxic and just really fucking shitty. These types of people thrive on drama, and there's a lot of, you know, undersurface stuff that for some reason people are trying to drag me into, and it's not, you know, it's not worth it. Like, I'm playing Paladins to play Paladins. I'm not playing Paladins so you can be a fucking weirdo online and start harassing me because of the people I talk to. Like, I'm playing a fucking game, buddy. It's not that deep. And when it comes to that, I'm gonna keep it real, I can't be arsed. This isn't me saying they've won because they've made me quit the game. This is me saying I'm embarrassed for you, and I hope your mother shows you love in the future, because you really need some attention, but I'm not going to be the one to give it. And I'm not naming people because they know who they are. But what can I say? I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals recently, and I'm probably just going to keep playing that until the beta ends. I don't really want to play Paladins currently, and I think there's a lot of better games out there right now. That being said, I'm probably going to end the video here, and I don't really know how to, so here's me fucking up one of the voiceovers, I guess. And yes, I know I'm repeating the whole champs are too expensive argument, and you've already heard that from the last episode. Fucking episode, what is wrong with me?